How's everyone today? Are you ready to build some dashboards? Dashboard. Okay, I am officially recording now, so I'll stop monkeying around and I'll get started. So there's a handout with the homework there. This is a homework in a sense that it will be graded as a homework. It will be due after the end of class today. It will be due on Wednesday at midnight, before midnight next Wednesday. But we will work on it interactively today through the class. I wanted to teach you a few new tricks today, and then we'll dig right in. I prepared these tables that are ready for you, and by the time you're done with this homework, you will have made an actual functional, useful dashboard that some people may want to use to track what's going on in their business, what's going on in their markets. So there are really just two things that I think you should know. I think that make our dashboards more pretty. So I'm now in Excel. This is one of the files that we built using UDM, the same cold storage table that you've seen on Tuesday. But you notice that it looks fairly finished. It looks fairly professional, right? And a couple of things that I think you should know. First is this drop-down list, how to make a drop-down. So the idea here is that you can travel back through time. You won't see very well from the distance, but currently I'm showing data through August 2018. If I go to the drop-down list and I choose July 2017, then the last data point vanishes here. So I can travel back and forth through time, and maybe I could go back 5 years and say, well, how did the market in butter look like on April 2011? So you see that everything changed. The years changed here, the 5-year average changed, the charts changed, etc. So the drop-down menu can be used to modify dates. In cheese, it gets even more interesting because we can choose which cheese are we pulling into table. So this entire table right now is a table of total cheese stocks. Now I'm going to go to drop-down menu. I'm going to choose American, and the entire table changed. The charts changed here. The titles in the chart changed. The axis in the chart changed. So the entire dashboard changed. So what I want us to do, so I want to teach you how to do that, and I want you to use it today in the homework. So before I teach you how to do it, I want to show you. I want to draw a mock on a whiteboard. I think I'm going to have to use that one there. I'm going to show you what I expect from the homework. So we will analyze in this homework. We will analyze profitability of milk production in the upper Midwest. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and we'll compare that with the US overall. So just like you see this table here with inventory, monthly inventories for American cheese for the last 5 years, I will ask you for your homework to develop a table that looks exactly the same as this one, except instead of inventories, we will have margins. Margins will be a calculated column from a table that we'll go through that in a moment. So what is a margin? About 50 to 60% of all costs on a dairy farm go to feed. So you have to feed your cows, you have to buy them protein, you have to buy them carbs, and you have to buy them some fiber, just like humans, right? And vitamin, minerals, etc. So we are going to approximate that feeding ration costs using some data that we will be downloading today through UDM. We will be constructing a margin that will be a proxy for profit margin. Technically, it's called income over feed cost margin. And we will be presenting that income over feed cost margin in a table like this. So last 5 years, 5-year average, year over year, month over month. And what I would like you to be able to do is to build a drop-down list where your users will be able to choose United States, Minnesota, Iowa, or Wisconsin. Okay, so these 4 states. So the table will look like this one. The title will be dairy margin coverage margins. There'll be 5 years, and then they'll calculate those margins for these 4 areas: United States, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So in the process, you will have to learn how to use the drop-down menu. The second part, the only other new thing today will be the coloring, conditional coloring of cells. Do you see these colors here? This YOY is years over year. MON is month over month changes. So they're expressed as percentages, and I have directed Excel to automatically cover those percentages on a scale of dark red to dark green, where green is more positive and red is more negative. The reason they do that is that the user immediately, when they look at the table, even if you just blur your vision a little bit, Dr. Laszlo, you'll be able to see in this column here, for example, what do you see from this table here? Here's what this table tells me. So this is monthly inventory changes for American sheep. And you can see that green typically happens in the first part of the year, and red typically happens in the second part of the year. Immediately, even without looking at the numbers, what this tells me, partially because I'm dairy economist, is that in the first part of the year, inventory rises, inventory changes positive. In the second part of the year, it goes down. Now imagine if I had to color this manually one by one, and then every time the report comes out, I go pick up my crayons again, and then wouldn't be much of an analyst, would I? So we need to learn how to color that automatically. There are many, many more tricks in this dashboard. I'm going to make this dashboard available to you in Canvas, but we will not be able to go through all of that. You have to disillusion yourself that Excel is something that you will learn in a class. Excel is something that you learn the foundations in a class, and then every time you try to do something, you'll be Googling, you'll be looking for instructions online. I still, if you ask me to write a VBA code right now, I wouldn't know how to do it. But I know how to remind myself of how each command works. I remember the first principles, and I know where to look, and that's why I can recreate it fairly quickly. So the point isn't for you to memorize. The point is for you to get comfortable enough with foundations so that you can propel yourself forward on your own after you graduate and later. Okay, so how do we do the? Let me just make sure that I'm recording. Yes, I am recording. And by the way, I did produce the YouTube video with Tuesday's class, and I just need to figure out how to put it on Canvas. So I'll do that as soon as you start working on this homework here. So how do we build the drop-down menu? Okay, so I first need to unprotect this sheet because we thought it would be nicer if we protect it. Okay, so put yourself here, and I'm going to unhide some of the supporting sheets that we have here. Let's see, cheese data. So this is a little bit like, I don't know if you ever worked in a restaurant, but the front part of the restaurant is nice, like, would you like to try our broccoli soup or something? And in the back, they have all these cans and stuff like that. All the dashboards are like that. You have the front part. Broccoli cheddar soup is not I don't know why I had French accent on that one. But, I could have chosen like French onion soup or something. You can tell I'm a irreparably dairy person. So this is the front part. This is the part that users see. It's all finished, polished, the glaze. And then in the back you have the engines, the pipes, the exhaust vents, right? So this is the back that does some help for the front end. Typically you'll have something like that whenever you start building files. So let's select this drop-down menu here, FD, and we'll go to data, and then there is something called data validation here. Maybe you will see it, but there's data validation. You can watch it now, and then when you start building this on your own, I'll help you out. But just for now, I just want you to kind of get aware of how it works. So in the data validation, you will only allow items from the list. Okay? So only allow items from the list, and in the source, you will put where that data sits. So this American or Swiss or stuff that's here sits in the cheese data sheet A4 to A8 here. So I have one table where I have like nice drop-down menu, and the other table where I have all these plumbing that I need for the front end. So there's nothing more to it. You just need to start messing with it on your own now, and you'll learn it in the process. So when you do the homework now, which will do the partially interactively, the list that you will need to create is a list of states. And then as you choose different state, the data should be pulled from a different table into here, into a table like this. Okay? The other part that I wanted to show you is the conditional coloring. So that is under Home button and then Style. Conditional formatting here. So if I wanted to color a few columns here, let's say that I want to color these 5 years, I would select what I want to color. I would go to conditional formatting, color scales, and maybe I would choose this white to red. And that's all there is to it. It's a very simple trick, but it adds a lot of aesthetic value to your final deliverable. Okay, so now it's your time. It says homework, but it's going to be more as a workshop where I serve you rather than present to you. So I'll be essentially removing hurdles that you encounter as you struggle with this. Everyone has to submit their own homework in the end, but I do encourage you, if you want to collaborate, help each other figure out how something works. That's how it usually is done in real world. So you're free to talk. You don't have to believe that you ever have to do everything on your own. So we'll start a new file. And I would like to direct you to APEC4501 S19. And then let's see if I need to give. So you should see the MPP dairy regional prices monthly. The reason it says MPP is because that's what this program used to be called before they changed its name last November, not last December. Now it's called dairy margin coverage. Okay, so load that table. The first time you look at it, maybe you should just load it directly, without any editing. So just so you can get a sense for how it feels and looks like. No. So remind you, to connect to the data, you go to Data, under Get and Transform. Under Get and Transform, you will go to Get Data from other sources, from OData feed. In a second, Bill, let me just, so does everyone have here OData feed? Okay. And then once you're there, you'll type the URL. .com/APEC capital APEC4501 S19. And I will type it in here as well. UDN direct dot dairy markets.com, APEC4501 S19. Okay? Click OK, and you should see the list of tables. Does everyone have this? Does anyone need help? Okay. One more. You have another pen? Yeah, you can load the table first in Excel. Wrong laptop. Okay. So when you load it in Excel, maybe spend a few minutes just understanding how the columns look like. So the margin starts by using the all milk price. All milk doesn't mean cow, goat, sheep, etc. Just means milk, cow's milk used for all purposes. So all milk price, United States, this is the column B, corresponds in your homework to all milk price formally for this program. We will use the price for United States, but we will also use the price for Iowa, for Minnesota, and for Wisconsin. Okay? That's the all milk price. Don't start selecting just yet. Let me walk you through it. Then the second part of the margin formula is the corn price received. Corn price received, United States, and then we again have Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Okay. Third part of the margin formula is alpha alpha hay. And just like before, we'll have alpha hay alpha alpha, price received United States, and then again Minnesota. Did I miss Iowa? Iowa is here. Minnesota, Wisconsin. Okay? And then the last thing is the soybean meal. Soybean meal does not exist for all the states. Soybean meal only exists for Central Illinois, so we are going to use this column for soybean meal for all 4 states. Okay, so we do not need to import all of these columns. In fact, what I would like you to do now is to create calculated columns so that you have only 5 columns that you're importing. You should import report period, which is a date column. Oh, come on. Report period, and then you should create 4 more columns. And you should call it margin United States, margin Wisconsin, margin Iowa, and margin Minnesota. So the first step you can do is to trim all of these. Probably we have 60 different columns here. 84. So instead of working with all 84 columns, trim it down 4 times 3, 12, 13, 14 columns. Okay, so you will need report period, you will need milk prices for these 4 states, you'll need a hay price for 3 states, corn, and then the soybean meal in Illinois. So recall how we remove the columns that we don't need. We will use the choose column feature to remove the columns that we don't need. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll proceed. Here, let me see. Am I recording? Yes. I just want to talk, if you guys want to take a break for a second, I want to talk about something called unit test. So this is a concept from IT. Whenever you're programming something, you want to be able to verify whether the result of your code is correct. So that's why you typically first write something that you know what the outcome needs to be. So in our current example, we are calculating the US margin, right? We're calculating the US DMP margin. So therefore, the unit test here is if I give you the correct margin for 1 month so that you can verify whether your formula produces exactly the same number for that month. Okay, so I'm going to give you the data for November 2018. In November 2018, this is from a FSA website. In November 2018, the margin was 866,120. So we'll take the margin and we'll round it up to 5 decimal points. When you do that, you should get the number 866,120 for November 2018. That's your unit test for this. That's your check whether you're doing it correctly. Okay, so I'll do it now myself as well here. So I'll first remove the tables I don't need. I'll put everything from Minnesota. I'll put everything from Wisconsin. Here, Gabriel. I'll put everything from Iowa. And everything from United States. Well, not everything, but corn, soy, hay. Not soy. And then soybean meal. And now I have only the columns that I'll need for this exercise. Click OK. Then add column, custom column, DMC US. You don't have to have exactly this name. In fact, call it whatever is most intuitive for you. It doesn't matter. Milk minus parentheses. Usually when I open the parentheses, I also close them. Otherwise, I just forget to close them later. So 1.0728 times corn price received US plus. I also like putting spaces before and after. Just for elegance, if you will, just for tractability later to make it easier to check what's going on. 0.0735 times soybean meal plus 0.0137 times, oh, which one is this it? I was lucky. Okay. Thanks, Maggie. I must have made that mistake probably 200 times since they passed the 2014 Farm Bill. Okay, this is my column. I'm going to do the unit root, not the unit root, the unit test to see whether I have it correctly. November 866. That's good. Just need to round it up to 5 decimals. So I'll select it, transform, round. Decimal place is 5. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, so now I need to repeat the same for DMC Iowa, milk price Iowa, minus um, nope. Iowa is here. Okay, I'll work on the other states while you work on the next task. I just want to get you started on the next segment. Okay, so once we have calculated the margins for all the states, we can remove everything that we don't need. We'll only be importing the states. And we said we would want only data after 2014, after or equal to 2014. I'll also make this a date, just to make it pretty. And then close and load. Okay, so the next step I would like you to do is to repeat what we did with last time. So start a new sheet, call it dairy margin coverage, Iowa, United States. We will not present data in the final dashboard this way, but I need you to remember match we looked at before we made this month times a year table to see if you can recall how we did last time match and VLOOKUP. If you don't recall the details, what you can do is you can put equal match and then go to the help for that particular command and see how is match used. That's what I do probably 30% of the time when I'm building something. Okay? Yeah, so I wanted now, I want you to remember last time we had one table for source data, which is the source data, right. And I will have the next table when we'll pick this data from, right? So I'm one trimming this down. Oh, yeah, but you should do that. You should do this in query before you load the data. Whenever you can trim the data before loading, it's good because then your file size is smaller. Okay. So let me explain to you what my roadmap is for your learning here. All right. First, I want you to remember how to use the match and VLOOKUP. Like we did last time. Immediately after that, what I would like you to do is build a drop-down list where a person can choose either Iowa or United States or one of those two other countries and that other states. And as they choose one of these states, only one column should pop up, and that column should be for that particular state, right? So we are starting by putting a few of them side by side, just so you can practice again match and VLOOKUP. But immediately after that, we'll do the drop-down menu. After we do the drop-down menu, instead of pulling the data into a list, I'll teach you how to pull the data into a table month by year. It's trivially more complicated. It's just a little bit more complicated than the regular VLOOKUP. If you let me see something. Yes. So if you type in the browser, type in this URL, bit.ly/UVM tutorials. There will be a link there. The first video is your lecture from Tuesday. We'll move this away from the public site into Canvas, but for now it's here. So you can start this video from Tuesday if you'd like, and just you don't need my voice twice. And then let's see. About, I think 35 minutes in was when we started doing match and VLOOKUP. 35, 40 minutes in. So bit.ly UDM _tutorial will take you to the library to choose the lecture from Tuesday. Okay, need to resume. So we have copied the name of the header, then we'll put equal match, name of the header, in the overall headers. You should have the name of the table, square parentheses, hashtag headers. Headers are trending right now. Okay, comma 0. And we should do the same for all your other states. I only have 2. Okay, 2, 3. Then I'm going to put a few dates here. Don't bother putting all 5 states, all 5 years. I just want you to remember the VLOOKUP. Oh yeah, I should give you a little bit more time for VLOOKUP. I just want to make sure that you guys are all good with match now. So copy over the header, use the match, header, name of the table, headers, comma 0. Does everyone have headers working now? Does everyone has match working? Reed, you're good? Okay, so now the next thing is VLOOKUP. Who is still struggling with VLOOKUP? Raise your hand. 1, 2. Okay, let me work with you guys first, and then I'll get you the next thing with VLOOKUP. Okay. One more VLOOKUP goes here. No. 2014, China had a foot and mouth disease. That's why they took the Martian. You did everything right. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to be able to create a table month by year. So we'll put 5 years here to put 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 18 from G to K, or somewhere horizontally, and put 1 through 12 in the column preceding the first year. So just create those axes for the table. Okay, so I'll do the same here. 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let me do the VLOOKUP here for a second. Okay, so this is the functioning VLOOKUP. We're going to keep everything else the same. We're just going to tinker with this first column here, with the first input argument. Okay? What we had here was a date that was already given to us. What we need to do now is create a date from a month and a year. So we will use the command date here, date, and put year H, month G, day 1. And now I've created a date from these axes. In order to be able to populate the entire table, we'll need to have $4 in front of 4, $sign in front of G, right? Because those two dimensions are fixed. So H $4, $G5, and now I have the dates. Okay, but I don't need the dates by themselves. I don't care about the dates. What I care about is the VLOOKUP. So for now, I'm just going to make the reference to D3 hard-coded. D3 in my case was the margin for the United States. I'm going to put this D3 hard-coded here. I'm going to take this over here. It won't work right away. But then, instead of G5, I'm going to put date 2014 1 1. Okay, take a close look what I did here. Before we had a VLOOKUP that had a single cell reference for date, and the rest was as it was. Now I am creating a date from months and years. Okay? When I do this, VLOOKUP should work. And I see the margin for January 2014. Again, I have to make the $sign in front of H, $sign in front of G, and then spread this out. And voila, margins in a tabular format. Okay? What we did differently than before, you know all of this. You've seen all of this on Tuesday. You're familiar already with the VLOOKUP simple form. The only change now is we created axes with years horizontally, months vertically, and we created a date within VLOOKUP. So see if you can replicate this using your sheet. Come in. Who needs help? Come in. How are you doing? Okay, guys. Now let's do some magic. Let's make this table be either Iowa or United States based on what people enter in a drop-down menu. Okay, so here's the trick. So I have DMC US here. I'm just gonna copy it somewhere else so I have it stored. If my D2 were to change from DMC US to DMC IA, all of these margins would change. And if my D2 were to change back to DMC US, all of these margins would change. Right? Okay, so that means that I need to set up my table in such a way that D2 is a drop-down menu. Rather than being a fixed number, I should have it as a drop-down menu. And we will do that by positioning ourselves over, in my case it's D2, in your table it's probably a different cell. But this is the cell, you should choose the cell that controls your table. Okay, so if you look at how the VLOOKUP is set up for your table, this sheet 1, V3, in my case, is the match. Match itself reflects what's in So I need to make D2 be a drop-down menu. So pay attention for a moment, and then you'll try to replicate this on your own. So I'm going to position myself on D2. Before I do that, I'm going to create a list somewhere on the side. I'm just going to create a list. So in my case, this is my list. I'll position myself over D2. I'll go to data validation, data tools, data validation. So currently it is set to accept any value. Now I'm going to make it a list. And then under source, I'm going to make that a list. Click OK. Now I have a list. You don't see it as a list until I click on it. Then it drops down, and I can choose. As I choose different states, the margins change here. Okay, let's see if you guys can do that on your own now. Coming. Oh, sure, sure. Okay, so the first one I'm not sure. So then this one should be look like yeah, we just have a C26 or something. Oh, you can go to the round. Yeah, I didn't know. Just mark out for who's next? Everyone's good? You like it, Mark? Okay. All right. So the next thing the homework asked us to do is to develop year-over-year and month-on-month changes of the margins. So the formula themselves are trivial, right? Year-over-year is just this number divided by 2017. Maybe we express it as -1. So you can see that the margins dropped between 2018 and 2017. They dropped 25%. They dropped quite a bit all throughout 2018. The month-on-month changes are simple for most months. So February over January, -1. Express it as copy it, express it as percentage. For January, you have to be careful because January is going to be January over December of previous year, -1 as percentage. Okay? And then conditional formatting will take each of these columns on its own. Home, conditional formatting, color scales, color it. So it's colored. But you also see the problem now with coloring because this entire year was a dismal year. It's coloring green the best performing months that are still bad, right? So we will probably take a little bit, see if we can make this scale have some absolute ends or something like that. Let me see. But for now, this is good. I'm just warning you. And then we will do the month-on-month conditional formatting again, color scales. Here we go. You would put here MOM, YOY. So notice what I did now, and I didn't know this before. This is an example of learning as you go along. So I went to conditional formatting, and I was thinking to myself, well, you know, Bill Gates is a billionaire. He must have done something right with designing this office. He wouldn't left this be in such a way that you have to have green for something that's bad. So I went to Edit Rule, and instead of minimum be the lowest value, I set the minimum to be number, and then I chose the value that is going to have the highest red or the deepest red. I chose it to be 0.3, for example, which is negative 30%. And for maximum, I put 0.3 positive. I could even put 0.5 positive, which is 50% increase. In other words, in this particular year, no cell should have the highest, deepest green because they don't deserve it. But if with future data, as they come in, maybe we will want to color it that way. So you see now that year over year, even though I'm allowing the coloring to go up to deepest green, none of these cells really deserve it. So, yeah, the first principle here is that you will need to learn features to achieve what you find is sensible, even if it's not, pre-formatted. There'll be a lot of learning on the fly. This is just one example. Here. Yes, sir. Yeah. So you're so close. The only thing we need to do is we need to format cells. So I just format all of this.
Oh shit, it's pretty clean. No, yeah, no doubt.
What I should do is
Yeah.
That's no problem. Who's next? Coming.
Yeah, then it's good. You know, you want it to be this one. Yeah, so there's one, and then
Oh, you're right. Basic emotional conditions. Red flags, green good. Right? So left flags. So that's why this is very simple. In general, when you're doing a dashboard, I would advise you to be straight, rapid. You don't want it to be like shouting from the page. Okay, who's next? All right. Yeah. So we push it through with the greater thing. Okay, and now so we look at this C7 is the date. So C7 will just have this point. So you put the overview up here, and then once you put it on here, C7 will be created for this photo. The cover. That's fine. You know, instead of C7 we created with the date. Which one? Who's next?
That's like also an immediate part. There's also two yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it still in there? Yeah, it's one of the last one he has to finish. Because you can like take it at any time. He has some, whenever someone sells this right. That's still now. It's like one of the that's most working like as much as you can. Yes. 2 days a week, most classes. But you have like the interview. That's gonna be fun. It's one of those taking like some super duper versions and there's like one other fifth year, so they're just like so next to each other. No, I'm assuming some sort of I think it's like the same, like less probably like yeah. It's been like 40. You like just look at the graph.
Oh, then
Like, I'll
you-
leave the statistics. Yeah, just like
Okay, who's next? Is everybody on board now? Coming.
It's literally slowly.
And then because you want to, if you're dividing because you're looking for percentage expression, so put -1, there's a percentage. So let's do
Space now. I just like get them out of the way.
Yeah, but I like now one day.
You're like, yes, I'll take that day. If I do them all in the day, I'll just keep driving them. It's like, yeah, what kind of stuff do you
And just express this percentage. Once you start to figure,
Not like that.
yeah.
so that's what lunch is, like, the February divided by January minus 1. And the reason they're doing January last because the January is going to be January minus December.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
I mean,
whether you want those different
Yeah.
Have you like studied music?
I've been trying. But, like I go through this, like I went for like 2 weeks. Like I took all the piano courses. plan to. And then just pick, I have to get 40 hours. It's a lot of yeah.
Okay. It looks like everybody caught up.
20 years later.
We are about 40% done with this homework. The second part of problem 1 in the homework asks you to also produce a chart that shows the margin. The chart now that shows the margin over the last 5 years as one line. So let's do that first. You can stop reading that and let's do that first. So here's what I want. This should be 1/1/2014, 12/1/2018, and there should be a margin here. Okay, that's what I'm asking. But I don't want to see the data for this margin. Put the data in a separate sheet and put the chart on the dashboard. So the dashboard is going to show the data in a tabular format that is easy for the human eye. Okay, so this is what your users are going to see. But in order to create a chart like this, we need to have this data in a single vector, in a single column, right? So what we will do is somewhere here, create a chart, but you will need a separate sheet where you will use the data for the chart. So the data for the chart is on a separate sheet from your final dashboard. See if you can make that happen.